So here we're going to get into actually editing a video to make it exactly what your students need. First thing I would do is just get rid of this side panel. You can view any video events that you make within the video. You don't actually need that side panel there. Then I'm going to talk about how to cut a video. So let's say you think 16.5 minutes is just far too long. Mr. Nickus is rambling about midpoints again. So you want to cut that down. Sorry about that. You want to cut that down to, let's say, about a 10-minute video. So you just trim it, well, I guess 11 minutes, but you're going to trim that down that way. Or let's say I'm going to undo or reset just to set it back to the original. Let's say you want to cut out a section in the middle that you don't actually need. You can add a cut and then trim that until you want it to pick back up with the second part of that video. All right, I'm going to reset that. You can add a voiceover, but that's only actually if you've created the video. You can't add a voiceover, at least not to YouTube videos. So that's a little bit inconvenient, but honestly, with the amount of YouTube videos that are out there, hopefully you can find something that's sufficient on its own without you having to add those voiceover comments. If you do want to add a text comment, you actually can do that anyway. You can add a note here. So I clicked on questions there, and you can add a note. Just to clarify something, you can also add a voice comment here. This is different from the voiceover. The voiceover is actually, instead of the audio from that YouTube video, this is adding in a comment. It'll stop the video, they play that, and then move on with the video. So after you make a comment like this, you want to hit save, and then it stops the video, they watch it, and they really could just hit continue there. Let's say you wanted to edit it or delete it, you can hit either of those two options. If you wanted to add a question immediately after that, so if you want multiple notes or questions at the same spot, after you have one, you hit add another one. Is midpoint to make sure that they actually understood your comment or understood a section of the video. You can set it so that they can't just fast forward through the video, so they will be stuck at this point until they answer the question. They can rewatch parts of it to actually learn about that if they didn't understand what the midpoint actually is. You select a correct or incorrect answer using this check or X mark. You can also have this as a multiple select question, so either of these two answers would be correct here. You can link things. You can put an image here. Let's say you don't like using their math equation editor. You can snag whatever picture you want and put the question in here, and you can also do that for the answer choices. You hit save here. Now that I've added two questions or notes at that spot, you can see this little bubble changed to a bubble with a circle in it, and that's just indicating that there are multiple things happening at that spot. And those are the two things. Then they'll continue through the video after they actually read the comment and answer the question. I think that's all I need for how to add questions. You can also insert open-ended questions. How would you describe it? You do have to grade the open-ended questions, but it's pretty convenient. It lines them all up, and you just have to click X or check mark indicating that they got it correct, and then it automatically puts that into the percentage of their score, which we'll go through a little bit later. So now you can see that this bubble is showing that there's multiple things happening at that spot. This one, it's just that one open-ended question. When you're done editing, you hit finish. Actually, if you are going to use this later and not assign it right now, this is all saved into your content. Well, it didn't do what I was expecting it to do, but there it is. So that's saved into my content. You can go back to it later, or right then you can assign it. You can also edit it. Once you assign it, you cannot edit that video. You have to make a duplicate of it. But let's say I wanted to assign it to my geometry kids. If I hit assign right now, it'll be available with no due date. You want to make sure that you prevent skipping. Otherwise, they can just fast forward through any parts and not do exactly what you want them to do. For geometry, I want to be mindful about not assigning it right now. If I were to do that right now, some kids would get to it over the weekend and not have this activity to do during class. So I'm going to assign this for Tuesday, right before my geometry class. Hit save there. And then I want to set a due date. This will remind them, so I'm going to set it for next Monday. Oops, no, that's not a student day, so next Tuesday. And I'll hit save there. It will remind them of this due date, but through Edpuzzle, that's not that practical. Nobody's really checking on Edpuzzle, so I would actually set a reminder in Google Classroom saying, if this is a required video, I would say, go to Edpuzzle and watch this video, and then you can turn in the Google Classroom assignment when they actually complete this. I'm actually not going to hit assign right now. You can hit later, and that'll actually delete these settings. It's not like it's going to save that as a draft for later. It's just going to save the video. You can also share this video outside of your classroom using this link. I'm not going to hit assign because I actually already did midpoint with my geometry kids, but I think that covers everything we need about editing and assigning a video.